But here I'm trying to snap it at the bottom, tip it over, but I've got another reinforced bit there. Concrete. I can't even pick it up, so I'm going to have to try and get some bars underneath it and get it outside. Struggling now to get the trolley in the middle of it. It's like a bloody lintel. Finally got that out. As you can see, it's nearly 4.5, 5 foot long, but it's scraped all my thing with the weight of it. But it's outside now in my pile of hardcore. Need a dig of that really and get rid of it. It's not going to break. So because it's so heavy and hard to break, even with a sledgehammer, I've gone all the way along the bottom. The weight has cracked it here, as you can see. So I'm going to put these boards down to see if we can stop it. I think it's held by the wood. So give us a second and we'll try and get the wood off. I think it's held by the wood. So give us a second and we'll try and get the wood off. Damaging my floor. But so I've removed the wood and I'm hoping now that it'll fall, and when it falls it'll break into smaller bits. So here we go. Oh, kind of smaller bits. I won't exactly say smaller. A lot of effort getting that reinforced concrete out of the way, but we'll have a clear up first, I think. And I have to kango it all into little bits. Time to fill the wheelbarrow. But I'm going to leave that bit ready for trying to drop that bit down. Today, again, I am knocking the wall down so that I can have one big lounge. One big room. Take that bit down right at the end and then take that bit down. Descriptions with the bars sticking out. So they've bent the bars over and dug a hole and bedded it in the ground. But thankfully, I've removed the steel out of the ground and it looks like it was probably... Hello, Kit Kat. It was probably a... the wall's just straight on this old concrete floor, which looks in decent nick. And thankfully, there's no telltale signs of mortar in the ground here, so I think this just sat again on my concrete floor, so might be a little bit easier. But I've still got this one to take out, and if you look at the concrete, you can see where they've done the same again. So I'm going to try this time and take a bit of that out so I can drop the whole of this. So there's the reinforcing bars on this one, so I'll have to chop them now with my hacksaw as my grinder's knackered. So I've snapped 2 of the reinforcing rods, cut them with my hacksaw. It's wobbling. It doesn't want to go down just yet. It's going though. Bigger than a ground floor of a terraced house. But a bit to go yet. This one's got to come down yet. As they say in French, voila! It's down. Just got to break it up now. But gives you a bit of an idea now how big my room will be. That was effort. Jesus. The other concrete pillar, I managed to drop this one onto the piece of wood and snap it because the other one was so heavy. So I've cut 2 of the reinforcing bars and I've got to do the other 2, and hopefully I can get it out in a manageable piece. I can't tell you how heavy that is. Can't even get it in the wheelbarrow. And when I get it on the truck, it gets stuck. Solid concrete. Can't even flip the wheelbarrow over like I usually can. So, little update now. That beam's out, pillar. That one's out. And we're right through to the corner, that's out. I just need to clean up and a tidy up there. When I've cleaned up and tidied up there, I'm not sure it'll just fit there because This one needs to be moved so that I can knock this wall down. But it's looking quite open. On the final bit now. 9 o'clock at night. Probably got 45 minutes, an hour before it's a wild 15 minutes with a lump hammer. Nothing holding this one up, so it's a bit easier. 9:30 at night here in France, and as you can tell, it's just going dark now. Heading towards Christmas, but I'm done for the day. Just need to have a little tidy up, get that wheelbarrow full, and get this out of the door. Yesterday, and the wall is down completely, and as you can see, it's a big sturdy beam, and I've got 2 holes where the 2 concrete pillars were holding up the beam, and this flooring I've got is like recycled old tyres. It's pretty thick and it doesn't breathe, so as you can tell, I've used it to give me a temporary floor, but what's happening is the concrete underneath sweating, so I'm going to take it all up, and we're just going to have the concrete floor for now. It's got no DPC membrane, but it's pretty dry all told, so I'm going to probably keep the floor in and probably tile over it. But what I'm going to do now, if you can see these old beams and joists and floorboarding, I'm going to upstairs, it's got like cement mixture and terracotta tiles on the top, so I'm going to take the terracotta tiles and all the mortar mix, whatever they've mixed it with, off, so that'll reduce the weight on the beam, because it's all over the place and not level because it's so old. And if you look at that joist there, you can see the angle. It'll reduce the weight, and then above it at some point I'm going to have to put a floating floor. But now that this wall is removed, you can definitely see how the room was originally. It's quite substantial. I'll measure it at some point and give you an exact measurement, but it's definitely bigger than a ground floor 2 up 2 down terrace in Greater Manchester. Way bigger. So happy days. And one of the jobs for the winter will be to take all the old render off to get me back down to the nice stone. Well, this is the first job, and this is what I'm going to do today. Remove all this from around this pillar, because hopefully that's where my new electricity fuse board's going to go, and get away from having this really old 1970s porcelain concoction, which is probably a fire risk if I'm being honest, and get a new fuse board in once I've pointed all this back up. So hopefully you can see that in a future video, but for today, so I can tidy this room up, I'm just going to remove this bit, so this is all ready for pointing. The rest can be taken down and removed in the winter when it's colder. We'll do some inside work then. The priority at the moment is the outside, when the sand and cement gets delivered. Well, sand and lime, and we'll do a proper video on that coming up. So I finished the render removal from around the window and where my electricity supply is, ready for the new fuse board to go there, and I've cleared down underneath my window. That's my Wi-Fi box. So I'm sure we all watch these videos on YouTube and we wonder where these people live, how they live when they're doing these renovations. So I'm going to give you a warts and all view of how I live. And at the moment, here, this is my only water supply at the house. Good pressure, probably about 4 or 5 bar pressure. And that's how I'm getting all my water for my kettle, for cups of coffee, etc. And this is a door that I've got as a replacement for now. It's not fitted yet because I need to point up all around the door. and then I can frame it out and fit it ready for the winter. But this is how I'm living. We've got Mr. T table, and now I've got one great big huge lounge area, which I think is around about 6 meters by 6 meters. I've spent a day clearing all the dust. No matter how many dust sheets you put down, you still get the dust. And the kitchen's in there. So now, obviously, this gives you an idea that I actually do live here whilst I'm renovating. And there's a pile of dust sheets, and I put some temporary coat hooks up on the boarding so I can put my work stuff on there. And yes, we do live in a place like this while we're renovating it. I do anyway. I'm not one of these people that's nipping back to the hotel or the house that they're renting down the road and they've got all the luxuries. I'm actually living where I'm working, and that in essence is creating what we call sweat equity, because I'm not paying any money out to live somewhere else. I live here where I'm working, and it's a lifestyle. Not everyone's accustomed to it, but it suits me. I don't like paying mortgages and bank loans. And there I've got one of my dust sheets up at the back door. But on an evening, when the glass doors are shut, you can see out into the field.